Hello, rock stars, and welcome to our final week of our Lanterns of Hope Quilt-A-Long. My name is HollyAnne Knight, and it's my job to guide you to quilt with confidence. And today, I am so excited to be celebrating the work of you amazing rock stars who have been part of this 8-week Quilt-A-Long. Now, those of you who are tuning in on Instagram, this is also a bit of a groundbreaking moment because I have never streamed to Instagram from StreamYard before and attempted to present slides on Instagram. So this is a huge deal. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I do know though that it's, going across the middle of the screen like this. So it does not look as big or as legible on your little Instagram screen. So if you're looking at this and you're like, dang it, I can't read the text, this is really small. I am also streaming to YouTube. So you can hop over to YouTube, String and Story over there, and you can catch this whole presentation. Yes, there will be replays on both, so fear not. By the way, if you're on YouTube, head over to Instagram just for a second. Click follow at String and Story. If you're on Instagram, head over to YouTube and follow me and subscribe over on my YouTube channel, okay? All right, let's dive in. Without further ado, this is very exciting. My quilt top is done. It is not trimmed yet. It is folded, awaiting trimming. I was up in the middle of the night thinking about how I want to quilt it. Y'all, I got to be honest. I tossed out that like mermaid idea kind of as a throwaway, and I can't get it out of my head. So does that mean I'm going to have to do it? I don't know. It might. Stay tuned. All right. If you're here on Instagram, I am toggling back and forth so that I can see the chat over there. So say hi in the chat. Let me know that you are tuning in. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and let's get started. Let's see here on YouTube. I see Jan. I see Selwyn, Marianne, Jennifer. It is fabulous to see all of y'all. And we're celebrating some of your quilts today. So welcome to the Lanterns of Hope virtual quilt show. Over the last 8 weeks, dozens of rock stars have been hard at work on Lanterns of Hope quilts. We've strengthened our community and grown our quilting skills, all while having a ton of fun. I know that I have had a magnificent time over the last 8 weeks. I hope y'all have as well. I think this quilt-along really reminded me how much I love being live with y'all and working on projects together. That's been a really special reconnection, and I'm excited that it doesn't end here. More on that at the end of our time together. Today, we're going to celebrate by having a virtual quilt show. And this is just an opportunity for y'all to see each other's work. Some of y'all got kits from us. Some of y'all worked from Stash. Some of you went to your local quilt shops and shopped there. And I'm just really excited to see how these quilts turned out. So now presenting the work of these amazing quilting rock stars. As soon as I jump over and peek at the chat over on Instagram. Hello, Jable42 watching from Eastern South Dakota. Hello, Susie. It is wonderful to see you. Good morning, Tisha. Hopefully I've come back through. It looks like I'm still streaming successfully. Hello, Lydia. Hello, Andrea. It is wonderful to see y'all. All right, let's do this. First up, Christy Cahill. Christy said, I like the one that you've done with the lime green and had a lot of that in my stash. I loved the pattern and the instructions were so clear. I've done quilts on the diagonal and found them to be very difficult, especially with sashing, to match the blocks so they look straight. This was a great experience. It gave me back some confidence that I had somewhat lost. Overall, I'm very pleased. Christy, congratulations. Your quilt looks amazing. And I love that this was a positive and skill building experience. You know me, anything that boosts confidence, I am here for. Next up, Claire Dawson. Claire said that she wanted the colors to represent the summer night sky, and I think that Claire did a perfect job with this quilt. Especially, I know a lot of us have had the opportunity, at least here in North America, to view the Northern Lights this summer or to see pictures of the Northern Lights that maybe our friends and family saw. I think this really captures the way that the sun sets late, the colors that we've seen with some of the solar storms, and even a little bit maybe of like town lights twinkling on the horizon. So Claire, I see it. It's beautiful. I love your work. Thank you for sharing. Donna says, I loved making this quilt. It went together so nicely. I saw the water fabric at my local quilt shop, but I didn't know what to use it for. When I saw this Quilt-A-Long and that you used the same fabric, I was in. Donna, I'm obsessed. And something that I really love, we have a couple of water quilts shown in today's quilt show. And y'all know that I made a version of this as well. What I have really enjoyed is a couple of things. First of all, from the very first time I saw the water fabric line, I knew I wanted to make Lanterns of Hope with it. I took one look at that line and went, I'm making a color wash Lanterns of Hope. And it was so exciting when I got to make mine to see that come together. What has been even more exciting though is seeing y'all use slightly different fabrics and it still works and it looks so cool. Like this one, this print that has these big white flowers in it is called Water Flowers. And Donna, I love the sparkle that it adds to your quilt top. So beautiful job, Donna. I absolutely love it. Tisha, try jumping over to YouTube and see if you can view there a little bit better. YouTube streaming is sometimes more reliable than Instagram streaming. Yeah. Dufresne Lawrence, I love these. Dufresne, I believe, lives in France / is French speaking. And I loved getting their submission. And this is an absolutely beautiful version. I love the different blues and purples. And of course, that splash of orange is always a favorite of mine. Jennifer says, after having to be out of town for 2 different events, I got the top done within 2 hours of the deadline. All fabrics from my stash. I loved the how to choose the color blog and how quickly the blocks came together. Having only a few blocks to do per week helped with my schedule. I love that. I think one of the things that I am feeling personally, as evidenced in my Instagram content today, but also hearing from others, is that as it is summer and there's so many things going on, I think we're being pulled in a lot of different directions. But I know that for me, having even just a few minutes a day that I'm still getting to quilt and to sew, it does a lot for my mental health, does a lot for making me feel like I accomplished something, that sense of self-care. And I love for how many of you being able to do just a block or two added to that feeling as well. So Jennifer, I love it. It's beautiful. Well done, Rockstar. Jesse Worsham. Jesse says, I'm obsessed with this pattern. It came together so quickly and the colors are fantastic. This is the large throw kit using the String and Story cover quilt kit. I love that so many people are making the same quilt. It gives me a sense of connection to my fellow quilters. And shout out to Jessie. She trucked this quilt top to the other side of the country. She was in, I believe it was Redwood National Forest / where the redwoods are. And those big old trees behind this quilt makes even this big old quilt look small. So Jessie, beautiful work. I absolutely love it. All right, next up, Chris Simpson. Chris says, I so appreciate the design and the name of this quilt. Thank you for offering kits as the colors are so beautiful. I'm planning to donate this quilt as a fundraiser to be held in August for advancing educational opportunity for low-income first-generation youth, adults, and veterans served by TRIO programs, celebrating their 60 years of service. Lanterns of Hope is a perfect choice. Chris, I love that. And thank you so much for using Lanterns of Hope for a cause that you're passionate about. I think that's absolutely amazing. One of my favorite things about doing this virtual show has been hearing little snippets of y'all's story with this quilt, right? I think writing a quilt pattern is sometimes a little bit like writing a book of like, I write it with a particular story and kind of meaning in mind, but every single time one of you makes one of my quilt patterns, you have your own experience with that pattern. You have the experience of, what you're going through just day in and day out in life as you're making the quilt, but also the purpose of the quilt, what you're planning to do with it after you make it. And just like books become and stories become living in a way and how we engage with them and what they mean to us personally, I think quilts and quilt patterns can do that too. And so Chris, thank you for sharing about the impact of this quilt and its vision, and then also the vision you have for it, even beyond for a cause that you care about. I love that. Lydia says, this Lanterns of Hope is a square version to fit my short queen bed in our RV. I chose to dive into my stash of Tula pink fabric since the large pieces would showcase Tula's designs nicely. I can hardly wait to quilt this gorgeous top and get it on the bed. Lydia, I cannot wait to see it quilted. And I would love to know what the final dimensions on this are. Lydia and I had some fun going back and forth in DMs about adapting this quilt to make it a square. And I was sharing with her, and I don't know if I've shared with y'all, the original drawing for Lanterns of Hope was actually a square quilt. I really like square quilts. I know that is a controversial opinion. And I happened to be designing this for a charity project of the guild I was a part of at the time. And I got voted down on making a square quilt for our charity quilt. So I elongated the pattern and turned it into the rectangle that we know today. But it was fun to revisit those first sketches with Lydia as she was figuring out a layout for this. So beautiful work, Lydia. I love the Tula fabrics. someone is asking on YouTube, how many is this for you, Lydia? I love all of yours. If I have kept count correctly, Lydia has made north of 24 Lanterns of Hope quilts. It's a lot. She's made a lot of quilts. And it's fun to see. Lydia has played with size more than just about anyone. Oh, good. You're over here in the chat. Let's see. Lydia says, I adjusted the large box size a little too. I'm on vacation right now, so I'll measure once I'm home. I love that, Lydia. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. And I can't wait to see close-ups of the quilting, etc. Marianne Russell says, I wanted the quilting to represent the sun rising with the lanterns. If y'all look in the upper left of her quilt, you will see the sun shining up there. I definitely went out of my comfort zone with this challenge. This is a small throw size, but I plan on making the large throw because I love the pattern so much. Marianne, that is so special. It means so much. And I hadn't made a Lanterns of Hope in a while, and now I'm, 2 in for this calendar year, and I'm like, can I make another one? How many is too many? So I'm glad to know that y'all share that feeling as well. I feel like making the Lanterns of Hope pattern is a little bit like eating potato chips. Like, you can't eat just one. You can't make just one. You get kind of hooked, Susan said, I loved buying the kit. HollyAnne put together great colors, and they're different than what I usually pick. I discovered I really like orange. Susan, that makes me so excited, and it also made me laugh really hard, because if you had asked me prior to this if you were someone who liked orange, I would have said yes. Like, not because I've necessarily seen like tons of your quilts, but I just feel like your like sparky personality vibes with orange. So I'm glad that you've had this realization too. Welcome to the world of orange. It's great here. We love it. Lydia says, never too many Lanterns of Hope. And she said, one day I'll make a list and then we can all know how many there have been. I love it. City Chick says, I like square quilts too. Tired of having to figure out how to make my quilts wider. Oh my goodness. I'm glad I'm not the only one. You'll be pleased to know that if I can ever figure out the final details of the thing, the next new quilt pattern that I want to write will be a square. So my square quilt lovers, prepare your spirits. Marianne says, I took your Free Motion Quilting Academy and it gave me the confidence to step out of my comfort zone with the quilting. Marianne, I love that. And your quilting looked amazing. Thelma says, this is my Lanterns of Hope quilt top. I pieced in the Quilt-A-Long. I plan to custom quilt the top using the instructions in the Confident Quilting Plan workbook. I loved piecing this quilt, and I'm looking forward to starting the quilting. I've loved every class I've taken with HollyAnne. She's easy to follow and learn from. Thelma, that is so kind. Thank you so much. And y'all, those of you who have just tops that you've shared with us today, and this is me too. I have not quilted mine yet. Keep us posted. As you start quilting, tag me at String and Story on Instagram. Post pictures in the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. Like, I want to see these get finished. So keep going with the sharing. Susie says, this is Lanterns of Hope using the water fabric displayed from String and Story. Displayed next to a turn-of-the-century boathouse on the South Puget Sound in Washington State. Susie, this is one of the most beautiful quilting photos I have ever seen in my entire life. And I have been staring at it for weeks, and I'm not over it yet. This is absolutely stunning. Susie reached out when we first started the Quilt-A-Long, and she was like, I need the water kit now, and can I work ahead? And I see, Susie, how you had this vision and you executed it so beautifully. Well done, Rockstar. Well done. All right, Marvita and Naomi says, square is the way to go. Linda, hello in Louisiana. Sames 5 is still working through FMQA. Love it. Oh, the cicadas say hi. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Hello, Whitney. It's good to see you. I love it. So pop the champagne, rock stars. You made some truly amazing quilts. It was such a delight to get to share these 8 weeks with y'all, and also a delight to get to show off your quilts today. Now, if you are, by the way, part of this contingent that has made your quilt top, but it is not yet quilted, I know a lot of y'all have taken Intro to Free Motion Quilting and you have taken Free Motion Quilting Academy. We've chatted about that a little bit today, but just know if you're new around these parts and you haven't done that yet, you are absolutely invited to take Intro to Free Motion Quilting. This is my on-demand Free Motion Quilting class. And it's a mini class, so it's just $35, includes all the basics that you need to get started. And you can find that at stringandstory.com/intro to FMQ. Those of you who are on YouTube, I'm also dropping a link in the chat. Those of you who are on Instagram, write that down real quick. stringofstory.com/intro to FMQ. Now, if you are here with us and you're like, dang, this looks really fun and I'm sad I missed it, don't you worry. You can absolutely still make a Lanterns of Hope quilt. And we've saved all the blogs and videos and posts and everything for you. So you can get all the details of everything we did over the last 8 weeks. This is also for those of you that you signed up, you got started, life happened. That I understand. Life happens. Trust me, I am navigating summer break with 2 school-age children right now. I am more on the front lines than I would like to be of life happening right now. But you can still find all of these blogs at stringofstory.com/blog/Lanterns of Hope QAL. Again, those of you on YouTube, I'm dropping the link in the chat. And finally, I have an invitation for all of you. If you've enjoyed following along with this, whether you have sewn with us or maybe life has been a little bit too hectic and you didn't get to jump in this time, I would love to invite y'all to join our next quilt along. Our next quilt along is going to be Dogwood Blossoms. This is another one of my patterns. This is also a pattern that was recently featured at the Missouri Star Quilt Company. Jenny did a tutorial of the small 9-inch blocks back at the beginning of May. As part of our quilt along, we're going to do the 18-inch blocks. So these are big and quick. They involve just 3 different units, but all units that have triangles. So during our Lanterns of Hope quilt along, we talked about things like a consistent 1/4-inch seam. We talked about pressing. We talked about choosing colors. We're going to do that again. But everything that we did in Lanterns of Hope was very foundational. If you were a new piecer, that was a great quilt along to be jumping in on. We're going to take things to the next step inside Dogwood Blossom. So working with those triangle units, learning how to do that accurately, handling fabric that's been cut on the bias, and then making these fun, big blocks together. These blocks are wonderful for big old prints. If you've got fat quarter bundles in your stash that are looking for a job, this is the quilt for that. So stringofstory.com/blog/Dogwood Blossoms QAL already has the whole schedule. It has links to the pattern, it has links to the kits. YouTube, I'm dropping the link in the chat. I would love for all of y'all to join us. Last I looked, we have over 350 folks who have signed up. So it's going to be a big one. It's going to be fun, and it's going to follow this exact same format that we did for the last 8 weeks. So blogs on Monday, live Q&As on Wednesday, and lots of fun all the way through. Huzzah! Rockstars, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments before we wrap up, I would love to hear from you. And I hope, like I said, I hope I'll see lots of you inside of Dogwood Blossoms. What's great about that big block size is that you could make just 9 blocks and have a 54-inch lap quilt. So you get a lot of bang for your buck with that one. Someone says, maybe I'll make the Dogwood Blossoms quilt as the table runner I've been wanting to make since this pattern came out. Selwyn, this is a sign. You absolutely should do that. You could make the 9-inch or the 18-inch blocks for that. Brilliant. And just follow along. We're going to make a different unit each week. It's going to be just like Lanterns of Hope, that we're taking kind of a laid back pace. You're welcome to work ahead if a faster pace works better for you. But just trying to spread things out and linger on it, because I know summer can be kind of a funky time, right? Lydia says, the trouble with seeing so many gorgeous different tops is that it tempts me to do another. Lydia, I feel that deeply, 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 deeply. All right. Marianne says, what ruler do you use for this blog? Marianne, we use the Tri-Rex ruler that you ordered this morning. Not to out you, but I saw that. I was like, yay, Marianne must be making this with us. So we have the Tri-Rex ruler in the shop. Triangle and a square. It's a 2-part. You have like a it's an almost equilateral triangle, and then you have a funky right triangle that makes the little wing bits. Yeah. Great question. It's not a template. There is a tutorial for doing it without a ruler and just piecing it. I don't really recommend that. Just buy the ruler. It's worth the investment. You use the Tri-Rex ruler not only for Dogwood Blossoms, but my Star Island pattern as well uses it. So it's a really good, like, multi-purpose ruler if you're going to make the investment, and it's not super expensive. So I think it's like $20. So as far as ruler prices go, not too gnarly. Awesome. Yay, Mariette. I'm glad that's helpful. Yeah, you got the right one. It'll be heading your way tomorrow. Don't you worry. Yay, Rockstars, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for taking the time to celebrate each other and your beautiful work. Thank you for taking the time to spend with me over the last 8 weeks as we've been working on this quilt along. I am so looking forward to kicking off our Dogwood Blossoms quilt along in just 12 days. I will see you there. Go ahead and head to stringandstory.com/blog stringofstory.com/dogwood blossoms QAL, or head to stringofstory.com and click the banner at the top of our webpage to make sure that you get all that info, get your name on the list, get your pattern ordered, and we'll get started soon. All right, you are fabulous. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Margot, do not worry. There will be a replay right away. Mwah. Have a wonderful day, y'all.